This week on Half Mile of Hell.
Well, if you guys get drunk enough, then I'll hop in and clear the table.
So tonight we go with a rookie outrider, eh? You know, these guys need to start somewhere, right?
Mr. Chad Pike is looking good at this point on the racetrack. Nobody on the track, please, but WPCA personnel, we know how to untangle this mess. They'll get it up and out of there.
I come out good, Mark. Really good.
Pack up and hit the road. Ride hard and play harder. Watch your back and don't give an inch. And whatever you do, don't make a mistake. Because you're about to ride the Half Mile of Hell. So far, rain has made both the racing and the travel of this chuckwagon season tough to bear. With a truckload of horses that can make or break a driver's season, there's a constant battle to maintain the health and comfort of these animals.
When we leave a chuckwagon event, our furthest trip we make is probably 8 hours, and we will stop halfway. So the horses are only in the trailer for about 4 hours. They have very easy trips. Most of the horse trailers now are set up so nice. Like mine has tons of air to flow through it, and they're all separate stalls, and it's an air ride trailer. So, you know, they could probably go a lot further than we do, but they don't travel very far.
For most, the next stop will be Lethbridge, Alberta, where the races begin in a week. But for Jason Glass and some of the other drivers and outriders, there are plans for a little detour.
After Medicine Hat, we went back to my cousin's place, Colt Cosgrave in Hand Hills. Southern Alberta was getting rained out, so it was rain in High River where I live. So we went to Hand Hills. It's very high country and it's all sand. So we went there for another week and then proceeded on to Lethbridge.
Depends how many days we have, but I think it's excellent. You know, go home, horses are comfortable, they know where they're at, and you can kick them out to the pasture for a few days, get some grass, and clean up a little bit.
With the horses calm and comfortable, the Cosgrave Farm is the perfect place to relax and be at home.
You know, there was a gang of about 8 or 10 of us, so we kind of just played a little poker, drank a few beers, and played the pool, and, you know, kind of just had a good old time out in the hills.
Well, it was about the first header, they come up with $1,000 a header, so I quit. Oh, the guy gets too many whiskeys, you get awful brave in a hurry.
Well, if you guys get drunk enough, then I'll hop in and clear the table. Get your
You know, whether we're having the odd beer or playing poker with the boys or whatever, that's just time to try to mentally get away from the horses. But they're never out of your mind. You know, these horses, they run a lot of races when you're sleeping at night. They never get a rest. So you never quit writing things down and thinking and moving horses. We had quite a few horses that needed some work and some training. So we trained 3 or 4 outfits every day. So my main focus is these animals and having them happy and ready to run.
While Jason Glass takes care of his horses at the Cosgrave Farm, Mark and Kelly Sutherland have made the decision to set up camp on some farmland in Bassano. It's a decision that means better care for their horses, but it's a 2-hour drive to and from the racetrack in Lethbridge.
Well, in the summer, we make a lot of kilometers. It's pretty safe to say that we do 15 to 20,000, and that would be on each vehicle. So we ship in and out of Lethbridge just because of the space at Lethbridge. Wouldn't be my first choice of what to do, but it's the situation we're in. So, you know, it's a hectic year. It's a hectic day each day, and it's a hectic year each year. But we wagon race for about a month, and then you wish for 3 months you had a week off, and then you wish for 9 months you were wagon racing again. So.
Mark is sponsored by a group called Lady Luck, and on the first morning of the Lethbridge event, they've asked their star driver to appear at their pancake breakfast. It creates an extra round trip for Mark from the saddle.
Are these horses yours?
The ones I'm driving are mine, and then these are my outriding horses here. You know, they do it so they can have a bit of a good time and give some money to a good cause and sponsor a wagon. So when they say they have a pancake breakfast for the community and they ask me to come, you know, you pretty much have to. And so we went out there and, you know, drove that couple hundred clicks and went back, you know, tried to get a little bit of downtime, check the horses over, make sure everything's going good, and, you know, load them up and come back to the races. So it's just part of the deal, you know. You got to do those things because those are the things that sponsors want, and then you also have to do the things that are best for your horses. And if that's shipping in and out, that's what we thought was best. And you can sleep when you're dead.
All right, race fans, welcome to Lethbridge from the Rocky Mountain Turf Club. We've got just perfect conditions here. I think the track is looking like it's in pretty good condition.
It's another big day for Chad Fike. He's finally going to ride in his first official race as an outrider.
I've wanted to be an outrider since as long as I can remember. My grandpa used to drive a chuck wagon. That's always what I wanted to do. I felt nervous my first ride there in Lethbridge, just like anybody else would, I guess. I had to kind of tell myself to calm down a bit before the race.
Getting sanctioned as an outrider was only half the battle. Since qualifying in Medicine Hat a week ago, Chad has had to find a driver who would give him his first break to ride in an official race. With stiff competition and big money on the line, it's a gracious move for a wagon driver to allow a rookie outrider on his team.
I've got some nylon I'll use.
So tonight we go with a rookie outrider, eh? So we'll see what happens there.
Rookie outrider.
Yeah. Chad, Ronnie David's grandson, eh? I'm gonna put him in the lineup. You know, these guys need to start somewhere, right? I mean, that's how did I get started, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you can't forget how I got started in this game, you know. So I just told him to be cool and
Everybody's got to get started.
yeah. And you got to remember, he's going to be around, eh, for a long time, right?
It's a perfect night for racing, and Chad Fike is only moments away from becoming the third generation of his family to have a career in chuckwagon racing. But Chad's nerves are on edge, and if anything is going to go wrong, it will on a first ride. He's been dreaming about it for most of his life, training hard for it all spring. Outrider Chad Fike has been certified, and now driver Darcy Flad is about to let him run in his first official race. Chad's mother, Donna, has been following her son all season, and now from high overhead, she'll watch Chad's first race as a barrel judge.
Chad's first ride in Lethbridge was on the 2-barrel, which was my barrel for judging, outriding judging. So I actually got to see his first ride, and I said, please don't let me have to give you your first penalty.
All right, we're just about set for the call of heat number 1 tonight here from Lethbridge.
Before each race, the drivers practice their start and take their team through the figure 8 of barrels in the infield. As Darcy Flad lines up for his practice turn, it seems his team is showing signs of nerves, both in front and behind the wagon.
In that first practice turn there, the horse was just a little antsy, and I was nervous, and he was feeding off that.
I mean, everybody's got to be nervous their first ride, so he's probably nervous on the inside, but he looked pretty calm and cool.
Well, we should mention that we've actually got a couple of outriders making their debut, but in this first heat, we've got Chad Fike. You'll know his grandfather, one of the greats in chuckwagon racing from days gone by, Ron David.
There's the horn and the charge is underway. Stoves go in, Outrider's mouth up, and Darcy Flad with that early lead. Outriders are in hot pursuit, even our rookie outrider. Mr. Chad Pike is looking good at this point on the racetrack.
That was too close. Way too close.
The horse didn't really spook, just was wandering around behind me and kind of got his feet tangled up with my feet there, and the race started, but we both recovered and got the job done.
That is Darcy Flad, the old college graduate, hanging on to that lead only by a half a length. He's got company coming at him on the outside.
I remember as clear as day. He did well. He did well. He kind of tripped there at first, and then he went up, and the lead team was a little wide. He was a little wide going up, but other than that, I mean, he's doing really well. He's definitely our best young guy coming up for sure.
And that's how they set up for the home stretch drive. Lethbridge, it's your turn to come alive. Darcy Flad up the middle with Badger daylighting. He can see daylight. He needs a couple of outriders to come in behind in a hurry. Darcy Flad and Badger is slamming with Wayne Dagg second, and Kubota Dealers of Alberta, Shane Carter closing in third. In what looks like, from my angle, a pretty good race in heat number 1.
What appears to most as just another ordinary race for the books is a dream come true and the beginning of a new career for rookie outrider Chad Fike.
Chad's doing great. You know, he worked at my place all spring getting on horses, and when I first started watching him, he didn't sit too well on a horse and that, and then to do as good as he has for really not being that familiar with a thoroughbred and that, it's, you know, it's good.
Almost stumbled. I got tripped out. No, it was all right.
One thing better if it would have been behind Grandpa, right?
That's right. Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Here's my grandpa now.
When you're in trouble, you got yourself out of it, and that's the main thing. You know, you didn't panic or nothing. You done good. Proud of you.
Horns down, and they are off in a hurry. Good start for all three wagon outfits. Outriders load their stoves, barrels are up.
The first night in Lethbridge continues with a full slate of great racing.
Look at the front end race. They rocket into the rail position. Three wagons across the track as they duel it out in the backstretch run. Rounding that fourth and final turn, they're not going to catch the reigning champion.
It's heat number 11, and Jason Glass is running with a new right leader. Trying out new combinations at the Cosgrave farm was one thing, but the true test for a new horse is here in a real race situation.
There's the horn, they're off in a hurry. Good start, outriders load their equipment. Here comes Lightning Luke Tournier. Oh, they stall on him. They stall on him and cost him the lead. Kelly Sutherland matches wheels with Jason Glass. Oh, did you hear him bang? Hub to hub.
I hooked a horse named Hanneman Highway that I've been driving this year. He's a first-year horse, and I've been having a little bit of trouble with him getting him from the top barrel to the racetrack. And I just give him too much line, and he was coming around nice to the bottom barrel, and he just decided to go straight for a couple feet, and I couldn't catch up to him. I got him safe enough, but our wagons, Kelly and our wagons, hit dead on.
Jason Glass, checkerboards on the rail. He's been alongside the man they call the king many, many times. Kelly Sutherland has raced against three generations of the Glass family. He's back right now by a horse length as Jason leads the backstretch drive.
I come rocking out of the barrels, and just at the last minute I glanced and I could see Jason was having trouble. Looked like, you know, he wasn't going to turn back quick enough. You know, fortunately we were wagon on wagon, and we just hit, you know, quite hard and kind of knocked me sideways, and then we had a good race coming all the way to the wire.
Jason Glass, now he's got company. Here comes that feather again. Kelly Sutherland matching things up wheel to wheel as they bang some steel again out of that fourth turn. Kelly Sutherland opens them up. Tyrell Oriole Field, he's going to get there by half a length. Jason Glass moving track back second. Lightning Luke Tournier and Lethbridge Community College graduates in third.
Wagon on wagon. It's the best case scenario for teams getting too close to one another in a high-speed situation. Another split second, and this collision could have been a disaster for the horses and for the drivers. Wagons can be repaired, but damage control also means a driver must own up to his mistake. Jason Glass owes a visit to the Sutherland camp. While trying out a new right leader in Lethbridge, Jason Glass bumps wagons with Kelly Sutherland. Damages were minimal, but in this game, mistakes need to be talked out or bad blood will begin to boil.
Well, after the race, if I have trouble on the racetrack and it's myself that causes it, I get mad at myself because it's, you know, it's something you can avoid and should avoid and not let happen again. Yeah, after the race, I went over to talk to Kelly just to see if everything was all right. He's one guy you can go to right after the race, and he'll be honest with you, and he just stands his ground, you know. He says it how it is. He's a very straight-up kind of guy.
Yeah, well, I think you hit dead center.
Oh, both wheels?
Yeah, that's what they say. I think we were dead on.
When Jason come over, I mean, I gain a lot of respect from an individual like that. He comes over and he says, well, you know, this is what happened. I was in trouble. I said, yeah, well, no problem, kid, you know, it's just another day at the races.
Yeah. Well, it's good, nothing got hurt anyway.
Oh.
All right, race fans, welcome to Lethbridge, the last day of racing here from the Rocky Mountain Turf Club.
It looks like trucking in from Bassano was worth it. Mark Sutherland is sitting in third place. With a fast, clean run tonight, he has a very good shot at winning this event. As Mark hooks his team, he dresses them with a little extra luck from his local sponsor. In a sport where tenths of a second often determine the winner, Mark will take every advantage he can get. The situation seems right for victory. Mark has his favorite barrel position and will be running with two of the top outriders in the business. Loading the stove at the back of his wagon is veteran outrider Rio King, and holding the leaders at the front will be last year's world champion outrider Chance Vegan.
Horn sounds, they're off in a hurry. Good start for all three drivers.
Now it's up to Lady Luck to decide the outcome. As the race sets up, all eyes are glued on the two lead wagons. But the real story for this heat is developing at the wagon trailing behind in third place. Driver Lane McGilvery has a big problem with one of his horses.
You know, when it started, I thought maybe it was tangled in the harness or something, but once we got a little bit further, I knew it wasn't that, and I knew there was something wrong with him, so I was trying to get him stopped.
Lane's problems cause him to fall away behind the leaders. Up in front, Mark Sutherland is having the race of his season, but he needs his two outriders to finish within 150 feet of his wagon for this performance to mean anything.
For the wire in a hurry, Buddy Bensmiller with a late charge, but he's going to run out of racetrack. Mark Sutherland gets there by a length. Lady Luck.
Mark's outrider Rio King finishes clean, but for some reason, Chance Vegan is way behind.
Lane McGilvery
All of a sudden, it becomes clear why.
Nobody on the track, please, but WPCA personnel and outriders, they know how to untangle this mess. They'll get it up and out of there.
Lane McGilvery's left leader horse has suffered a heart attack and collapses as his rig enters the infield. Anything that was caught behind McGilvery on the home stretch is going to stay there. Mark Sutherland has just had a world-class run. Chance Vegan has just cost Mark a penalty. Lane McGilvery has a horse down on the infield, and everyone else has to make sense of what just happened. Confusion, frustration, and sadness fill the air in Lethbridge. Racing has come to a halt with a horse down on the infield. Lane McGilvery's misfortune has also caused Mark Sutherland a penalty for a late outrider. Late in the race, Mark's outrider Chance Vegan got caught behind McGilvery's troubled team. He took a penalty for a late finish, dropping Mark from 3rd to 26th.
And he come straight down, and I had to check him, and then I went around, and then he pushed me all the way to the
Chance
wall.
tries to explain his side to Mark.
I come out good, Mark. Really good.
But Mark's not buying.
Yeah, he comes over, gives you the reason why it wasn't his fault, because it never is. I don't know what he was doing. Like I said, I was worrying about my 4 horses. He was worrying about his 1. got caught behind a wagon that he couldn't get around, so. First penalty that outriding horses got, so I don't know what he was doing. He's riding with his head down or something, I don't know. I couldn't see him, so.
You know, drivers say that about a lot of horses, so how does it feel to be the first? It doesn't really make much difference to me. I doubt I am the first. That horse is probably like 16 years old, so he's been around for a long time. I'm not too worried about it because I come out good, I did my job. I just got caught in a bad spot.
Back in the infield, Lane's horse is removed. Moments like this hit home in the chuckwagon community.
You know, we spend probably 16, 17 hours a day with these horses, you know, and we baby them as much as we possibly can. And, you know, if they're not right, then, you know, it comes back on us. You know, we want them to perform as well as they possibly can, and if they're not cared for, they're not going to.
You never want to see it happen. I mean, there's some horses that are 15, 16, 17 years old that have been running for 15 years for us, so it's hard to take even seeing someone else lose a horse, you know.
When they go, they go. It's just like a family member leaving it. You know, that's part of life. Death is part of life. It sucks, but at the same time, you just got to think about the good things. When we load horses up to head out, they're ready to go on that liner. They're loading you in there. We're gonna bridle them wagon horses. They got their head down there. They want that thing. They're fired up. Let's go. They want to do it, and that's the part that I don't think a lot of people really understand, because these horses love to do it.
It's a passion shared by both man and animal, speed and the drive to compete. But ultimately, it's really all about the horses. Throughout the season, the routine of the horses' care and training becomes a lifestyle for their owners. They are the key part of the sport, part of the team, and part of the family. Coming soon on Half Mile of Hell.
Guy was pissing me off pretty much, and we ended up going outside and 2 punches, and that was it.
I know myself that if I drink and then you got to ride 9 in the morning and then you ride 9 at night, it just doesn't add up, that's for sure.
Horn sounds are off in a hurry. Rich Johnstone is quick on that one barrel. Outriders are mounted. They're southbound and out of town as Reg Johnstone. D&A Electric flips the switch, the speedy switch. Here comes your fastest time of the weekend, I'm thinking right here. That's why we call them the Bash-Off Flash. Your Outriders are there, Reggie. Plug them in. D&A Electric gets there by 2.5. It is heat number 12.